a balanced or healthy diet for most of my adult life, but at 42, I realized I was underfueling my body, especially protein, by more than half of what I actually needed. I am blaming or thanking Dr. Stacy Sims for this revelation in her book, Next Level. We don't need to eat just healthy. We need to fuel our pre- and postmenopausal bodies with what they actually need. So today I'm sharing how I am planning these high protein meals in a way that takes the guesswork out and is simple and sustainable, and how macro tracking can actually help but is not required. Because if you're like me and many of my friends, you have added a macro tracking app for a day or two and then completely quit. Let's try and change that. So today I'm going to cover why I'm focused on protein now, but just a quick overview because I've already actually done a video on that before. How I'm building easy, high protein meals, tools and tips making this easier on us, what I've noticed in just a few months, and of course a download to help you get started. Because on my channel, I like to help you try new things so that midlife can be a season of sparkle and not settling. But with that, this is also your reminder. I am not a dietitian, nutritionist, trainer, any of those things. I am just a normal YouTubing mom and wife trying new things and sharing how it goes for me. So this is just my personal experience. So from everything I've learned in Dr. Sims' book, once we turn 40, or I'm sure a few years before that, depending on when your body starts going into perimenopause? Wow. Our hormones shift, our metabolism slows, and we don't recover like we used to. So in her book, she explains how undereating, especially protein, can cause muscle loss, fatigue, blood sugar crashes, and even more fat gain. So as I've shared before, this was a total wake-up call for me. I wasn't eating enough to support my workouts, and it really explains why things like 75 hard, 20,000 steps a day that I did last summer for a video challenge, why nothing seemed to be working. Because I wasn't eating enough to support my workouts and fuel my body. So once I read this in her book, I realized I was probably undereating all three of the main macronutrients: fat, protein, and carbohydrate. But I did decide not to take all of it on at one time. I decided to start first with protein. And I also didn't try to immediately start eating as much as I needed on day one, because my body would probably be like constipated for 4 days if I tried to do that. Which brings me to macro tracking. Macro tracking can feel overwhelming, especially if your life's already full. Believe me, I get it. If you've ever downloaded an app, tried it for a day or two, and then quit, you're not alone. I did that before with MyFitnessPal. It just didn't seem like something I could really commit to. And it's funny, now that I think about it, I realized that I viewed it as part of like diet culture, so I completely avoided it. And I will suggest, if you've dealt with an eating disorder, if you've dealt with an eating disorder in the past or are dealing with one now, macro tracking is probably not something you want to do. And that's okay. Clean up my mess. What I found that's fascinating is, once I found an app that I like, I found that using it actually helped me feel empowered, because it helped me see whether or not I was eating enough food. I never underate because I was trying to be skinny or be on a diet or whatever. I feel like I truly underate because I didn't know any better. With that, I encourage you to have a more empowering view of what macro tracking can do for you, your muscle, and your body's needs. More on macro tracking in a minute. So according to Dr. Stacy Sims, women in this phase of life, whether you are an athlete or trying to lose body fat and gain muscle like myself, need about 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. And in her book, she does have it broken down per kilogram of body weight, but I just converted that online and that's what it came out to. So I aim for about 145 grams of protein a day, give or take. After a few weeks of gradually increasing my protein, what I decided to do was start paying attention to carbs and fat as well. I found that I was pretty much about at the right spot for fat, but carbs I was extremely under, like probably 100 grams a day. And remember, if macro tracking is not your thing, that's okay. You can start small if you decide to and track just protein, and go from there if you decide it's something that's helping you. Start small, build awareness, go from there. And don't worry, on the download that I'm going to share with you at the end of the video, I do show you how she breaks down how much protein you need on a day where maybe it's like a chill day, maybe every day is a chill day for you and you're not lifting heavy right now, or on versus days where you're gonna be lifting heavy or having strenuous workouts. So my old meals, I might start with maybe a smoothie in the morning with like 10 grams of protein. After I work out, maybe a salad with a little bit of chicken for lunch and some chips. And for dinner, maybe a little bit of meat and some potatoes and a small salad again. Healthy, perhaps. Enough? Absolutely not. Now I plan around protein first. I get 20 grams of protein and around 20 grams of carbs before my workout in the morning, 30 to 40 grams of protein after my workout for breakfast, and then I aim for about 30 grams at lunch and dinner, and if I have snacks, I aim for them to be between 15 to 20 grams of protein, like Dr. Stacy Sims suggests. And now for my favorite part. So many of you have said that you feel unmotivated or mentally fried trying to track or keep up with meal planning. Same here. And I gotta be honest, doing these videos, having this community, doing all this together, and you even just asking me questions has helped me feel more motivated to figure it out myself so that maybe together we can all have a solution. So I've put a few things together and started using a few tools to help keep myself fueling consistently. Because ultimately, I think that's really what's gonna help us feel better and feel stronger. So here's a few of the things that have helped me stick with this the past couple months. First of all, my favorite tracking app. I have really liked using Chronometer. I've put my macro goals in, some of my go-to recipes and custom meals, like the things that I eat for breakfast. And it's made it super easy for me to know what I'm eating and track each day. I also really like the platform because it's just really user-friendly and it's free. I'm not using the gold version at this point. Maybe I will someday down the road, but right now I'm not. Next up, I know, ChatGPT. Some of you get really freaked out by this. I understand completely, but with the help from my husband, I have seen just how much it can help. It can save you a lot of time doing things like meal planning. And look, so I'm gonna show you right here. All you really need to do is put in as much information about Dr. Stacy Sims' food recommendations, along with how you eat. Maybe you're a vegan or you hate broccoli or you're gluten-free. You can put all of that in there. You can even let it know that you want to eat more cruciferous vegetables or stay away from gluten. You can let it know that you want to repeat meals every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Be specific as possible. And you can even feed it some of your favorite recipes and tell it to plan certain needs, even based on your cycle, and put your cycle dates in, if you still have your period, of course. And with your prompt, it's going to give you as much help or as little help as you need. I got an extra nudge from one of the amazing women in our community, Jillian, because she decided she didn't want to track macros. She's got bad history with macro tracking, and so she decided she really wanted to have a done for her meal plan. So she had ChatGPT make her a meal plan, and so it took a lot of the guesswork out for her. I love seeing what she did because she only eats meat once a day, and she also wants to sync up her meal plan with her cycle. So I love seeing how she did it and that she found a meal plan that's easy and works for her and is her pre-workout food is stuff she can prep the night before. So just more encouragement that ChatGPT in this situation, even if it's not your friend in any other situation, in this situation, it is extremely helpful and beneficial for saving time and giving you ideas. One of the things I have on my fridge is my go-to protein list. It helps me on the days where I might not have planned as well as I should have. And it saves me a lot of time Googling or asking ChatGPT how much protein is in 3 ounces of chicken or how much protein is in 6 ounces of turkey breast. And yes, it is included in the download. A high protein meal plan. Okay, so I did not make a meal plan for 7 days out of the week. I have to be honest. I have found that I like freedom too much to stick to the same thing every day or stick to the same thing 4 days a week. But what I did do is I have a few example days that can help guide me. And I know this sort of thing is going to be more helpful for those of you that maybe work outside of the home, at home all day long. So I had a sample workout day meal plan made. It is included in the download, and I'll throw it up on the screen, but it's going to show you the total macros for each meal and then the total macros for the day. And this is based on the recommendations for a workout day, according to Dr. Stacy Sims in her book, Next Level. I am always making sure that I have enough protein that I have enough fiber as well, because I know that's one of the things that if we're not careful and all we're eating is protein and not getting enough fiber, we're gonna end up constipated. And yeah, I have been there. So next thing on my list is gonna be prepping 2 to 4 things at a time. Either on Sundays or Mondays, I will typically prep roasted whole or diced sweet potatoes, brown rice, some chicken, maybe some barbecue chicken thighs. I will prep maybe some cabbage or broccoli or one of the amazing all-in-one meals on the Lily Eats and Tells website. And I've put a bunch of those inside the download. What this helps me do is there are actually things ready for me for lunch in the fridge. Dinner usually is not a problem for me. I don't struggle with eating enough for dinner because we're typically all sitting down together to eat dinner. That's something that's like ingrained in me. The meals that have always been tricky for me to eat enough protein at are lunch and snacks. In the past, I would not eat enough at lunch and skip a snack and be completely hangry and starving by the time we sit down to eat dinner. So I always like to have food prepped for lunches for myself and my husband. Kids usually do sandwiches, that kind of thing, so I don't prep as much for them. But I found that if I have 1 to 2 meats and then sweet potatoes or brown rice and a vegetable already cooked in the fridge, or one of Lily's all-in-one meals that are so good but take a little bit more time, I find that I'm going to actually eat enough. I feel like with the amount of food influencers on YouTube or on Instagram who prep like 8 recipes in individual containers, and they all look amazing. Believe me, I follow them too. I want to make all that food, but I feel like I would have to designate at least half of my Saturday or Sunday to make all those things. If that is something that you need to do because you work all day long outside of the house, gosh darn, do it, sister. And there are some amazing influencers out there that make really good meals and have good recipes that can be really helpful. But for myself, seeing that overwhelms me. Like, I don't know that I have the energy or time to prep for that long and in that much, in that capacity, because a lot of those foods are not things my kids or husband are going to be interested in cooking. So I try to find things that I can prep that we will all like, and not just me, not only for our budget, but for my time. So I've been doing this for a few months. I've actually been tracking only for about a month, but as far as eating more protein and being more aware of what I'm eating, I've been doing it for a few months, and here's what I've noticed so far. I definitely recover faster. It feels weird to say that I don't even know that I'm as sore as I used to be when I did different workouts that weren't as hard, that weren't as heavy. I feel fuller and more stable, and I feel fuller longer. I used to be hungry after eating my first meal of the day within 2 hours. And I'm not talking like, ooh, I need a snack. I'm talking like starving. And my friend Cassie would be like, girl, what are you eating? You cannot just have a smoothie and fuel yourself. So I'm definitely fuller longer. I don't feel as hangry as I once did several times out of the day because I'm not starving. I know that I'm building lean muscle. I've yet to do a follow-up body composition test. I'm going to be doing that in the next 2 weeks. I'm slightly nervous, but I can feel it even like when I walk. I don't know if that sounds ridiculous or not, but I feel less jiggly, okay? So I'll take it. And I don't feel as tired as I once did in the afternoon. So I know that it's not only helping my energy, but helping my mood and all of that good stuff. And here's something that I want to encourage with. We don't have to track forever. Like, I am not going to be tracking forever. And also, I don't do it every day of the week. Saturday and Sunday, I'm aware of what I'm eating, but I am not logging every single thing I eat. I try to be more present with my family and less, worky on my phone. So you don't have to track every single thing every single day. Also, my gosh, brown rice is done. I forgot to tell you that my digestion has been better, which is a win, because I will go through phases where I will be regular and then I won't. And more often than not lately, I have been going twice in a day. And I don't know about you, but from someone who mid to late 30s realized I wasn't as regular as I thought I was, and now going twice a day, I'm like, oh, this is great. It's just another sign that I'm giving my body what it needs. All right, so before we go into the next section of the video, I just want to remind you, you don't have to do all of this overnight, okay? This isn't going to be a one-day thing. This is going to be a process, and you don't have to feel overwhelmed. You don't have to speak negatively over this situation of yourself. Use positive words when it comes to doing this. Okay, you can do this one step, one day at a time, and we don't have to look at doing this with a negative outlook. Remember, try to have an empowering outlook, and remember what it's going to help you with. Remember how you're going to be helping your body by doing this. Okay, so if you're feeling stuck, or you're feeling tired, or you're feeling frustrated, or you're wondering, oh, what have I been doing wrong? My workouts aren't working right, or maybe I'm not eating enough. Maybe it's your fuel. Maybe you're really not eating enough, and maybe you do need to track for a few days just to figure out, what have I been taking in? But if you have not done it yet, I highly recommend you get her book. The link is going to be in the description and probably in the first comment. The first pinned comment below the video. And you can also sign up for my newsletter to make sure to get the free download that I created for this video, and of course for myself. And you can follow along as I share more in upcoming videos, because like I always say, we are definitely on this journey together. So as you know, the community on my channel happens below in the comments. So it's your turn. I want to hear from you. Has this been something that you have started, and have you started to see some wins? I would love for you to share that below, because your sharing is going to encourage and inspire other people who are thinking about doing this. If this is something you haven't started yet, what is holding you back? What has been something that maybe you have a question on, or maybe you have to figure out? Feel free to ask me or the others, or the other people in our community in the comments below. Probably somebody that's going to be able to help. And it goes without saying, but I'll say it anyway. If you have a special situation going on with your body, or your healing, or an autoimmune disorder, something that requires you to plan food or eat food a little bit different than what's suggested in this book, talk to your dietitian, talk to your doctor, talk to a nutritionist before just jumping into something. Because remember, this is just what I'm doing, and I'm sharing what I've learned in Dr. Sims' book. You know what's awesome about reading this book and everything that I've learned and that I feel like we've been learning together? I just feel so empowered, and I feel like it's the beginning of a new beginning for a lot of us who have maybe just kind of accepted some things as they were, or maybe some things felt like they were a little bit dead. Maybe it was our energy, maybe it was our lack of motivation, or our discipline, or our drive, or our focus. I don't know about you, but the things that I've learned and the things that I've put into practice since reading this book, it has absolutely caused almost like a sort of awakening in me. And I know it sounds cliche and silly, but it's true. And I've just got a newfound love for taking care of myself and inspiring and encouraging you to do the same. So just know you're not in this alone. And until next time, I will see you in the next video. So be sure and subscribe to check out my next video, sign up for my newsletter, comment, say hello below, and I will see you in the next one. Bye. Post-filming Erin here. You know what I realized? One thing you're probably curious about is, have I gained weight since eating more? And surprisingly, I haven't, which I'm very shocked by.